My family demanded $160,000 for my brother's crypto scam, then dumped my kid like trash. Now they're begging as their house falls apart. Okay, this is definitely going to sound crazy, but I need to get it out somewhere because my mind is just spinning on it, and I'm not sure what's normal anymore, whether this is just my family, or whether other people suffer with it as well. So, my name is Caleb, and I'm 29 years old. My family is quite large. Always has been. Italian Americans are boisterous and always have the last say. Nobody in my family ever lets anything go. My parents, Mark and Karen, have always been enamored with my brother Brandon. For real. He's 31 years old, still lives at home, and has always had a plan that never materialized. I love him. He's my brother. But I'm not sure whether I like him half the time. If you know, then you know. So I am not in the country right now. Nothing glamorous. Just needed a refresh. And the money was great. But I had my 6-year-old son, Eli, who was scheduled to stay with my parents for a few months because his school year was coming to an end, and it would be easier than relocating him in the middle. I thought everything was good. Every day I communicated with him through video calls, money transfers, and other means. My parents made it sound like they were enjoying it, as if he was the pleasure of the house and everything. So here's where things get weird. I give the regular money for groceries and Eli, and my dad texts me something like, "Call me when you get a sec. We need to talk about Brandon." I'm wondering, what now? Did he crash another car or something? When I call, they are both on speaker and are just getting off. Not yelling but passive-aggressive like, "Your brother's in a tough spot, and family means helping each other, and it's time you step up." I'm already bracing for it. So they just drop it. Brandon owes a lot. They will not tell me right away, and they want me to pay for it. I'm like, what? How much? And they evade. Finally my mother just says, $160,000. There is no pause, as if this is just a normal thing to say. I literally chuckle, like, is this a bit? And they aren't kidding. They want me to take care of it because I owe it to the family. And yes, I lose it a little. How do I ask? Why? What did he actually do? Turns out he got into this odd crypto trading thing, and it crashed, causing him to lose everything, and more. Brandon is always on point. But now it is my problem. I tell them right away that this will not happen. I'll help, but I'm not going to bail out that kind of disaster. Silence. Then my father asks, "So you're just leaving your brother out to dry?" I responded, "I'm not a bank." It gets worse from there. My mother starts crying. My father is all cold. Brandon is apparently hearing in and begins ranting that I am a selfish a-hole who never does anything for this family. I hang up when my mother says, "Well, we'll have to do what we have to do." I believe she just means they'll cut me off or something, which is hilarious considering I'm the one sending them money. So nothing happened for a day or two, only tense texts. I called Eli to check in. He swears he is okay. Grandma is making him pancakes. Cool. I'm annoyed, but not worried. Then things go odd. I call the house. Nobody picks up. I text nothing. Brandon sent me this one-liner. "Just hope you're happy now." I try not to read it. The next morning I received a call from an unfamiliar number with a local area code. I almost overlook it, but something inside tells me to pick it up. It is a woman. She introduces herself as a social worker and asks if I am Eli's father. I ask, "Yeah, what's going on?" She says he's well, but he was left outside a police station with a message. I honestly thought I had misheard her. I inquire if he's okay. She says yes, but she wants to ask me a few questions. She reads the note to me. It simply states, "Unwanted. Father lives abroad." There's nothing else. I honestly don't know what to say. I continue to inquire. "Where are my parents? Where's my son? What happened?" She responds, "Eli is fine. Someone dropped him off and left, and he's being looked after for now, but I need you to come get him, or arrange for someone." I simply go blank. I tried calling my parents, but nothing happened. Blocked. I even dial a different number, and it goes directly to voicemail. I tried messaging Brandon. He responds with a single line. "It's done. Don't bother coming home." I'm not the sort to panic, but I'm pissed. I called a friend who lives nearby. Ask him to stop by my folks' house to see what's up. He approaches me and says it's as if I never existed. Photos of myself and Eli gone. His toys, clothes, and even my old high school awards are gone. The house seems spotless, as if they had a cleaning company come in. Friend says he saw Brandon in the driveway and wanted to say hello. Brandon slammed the car door and walked away. I'm not even sure how to process it. I end up simply sitting there, staring at my phone, thinking it must be a prank, a setup, or something. My parents and Brandon have blocked all of my social media accounts. My aunt writes to me, "What's going on? Your mom is saying the most insane stuff about you, but she won't say what the worst part is." I can't even be furious at Eli's school or teachers, because they had no idea what was going on either. He was only present one day and gone the next. I suppose my mother called in ill for him and then never brought him back. I kept thinking, how did you get to this position when your own family just cuts you off so hard, and for what? For money that I do not have. I end up arranging for Eli to be picked up by a family friend, someone I genuinely trust, and calling him. He's okay, confused but fine. Honestly, he's tougher than I am. The social worker is calm and says I should phone her back as soon as possible to complete paperwork. I am just numb. By this moment I'm trying one more time to see if my folks will respond. Nothing. No explanation, no apologies, and no fight. Brandon just posts a strange meme about false families and real ones step up, as if I should feel bad or something. My mother has blocked my number. My father leaves a voicemail that is literally 4 seconds of silence. So I sit there for a minute and then, for no apparent reason, start giggling. All this time, I believed if I did what they wanted, they'd finally see me as a member of the family, not simply a backup plan. Now it's evident that was never going to happen. They only wanted me around when something needed fixing. So I texted my friend, told him to keep Eli for a while, and then I began drafting a list of everything I could do to ensure that my parents and Brandon felt what they had just done. Not just a minor annoyance, but the kind of pressure that makes people regret they hadn't tried to manipulate me that way. I'm not even mad at this point. I'm just finished. Like I see it now. They made their decision. I'm ready to make mine, and I promise they won't like it. Part 2 is coming if anyone wants it, because this is simply the setup. I haven't started yet. Update 1. So, sure. I barely slept after my last post. NGL, I was just sitting there doom scrolling, thinking about what I could do to hit them where it hurts. I guess I've always known my parents were transactional. Even as a kid, everything revolved around, "What have you done for us lately?" But ditching my son? That's not simply crossing a line, it's burning the bridge and blaming me for the fire. I had a few days till I could travel back. First, we needed to resolve Eli's problem. He's good. I am now staying with my friend Jenna. She is a real one. Doesn't ask for specifics, simply says, "Tell me what you need." Jenna has her own family, so Eli is essentially being indulged with snacks and cartoons. I check in every day. He says he misses his dinosaur stickers and Nintendo, but he's otherwise fine, which is more than I can say for me. So I started digging. Not like Sherlock Holmes, just looking up old documents and emails. Here's a crazy fact. My parents put my name on a lot of their belongings years ago for emergencies. Karen and Mark do a classic maneuver. Always prepare for the worst, but only if it helps them. I'm not talking about a will, but rather things like home utilities, savings accounts, and car insurance. I never even considered it. They just handed me a 1-year binder and said, "Sign these. It's just in case something happens." I was about 20 and didn't question it. FR. Now I am looking at these papers and thinking, okay, this is leverage. I'm not going to do anything criminal, but I also don't want to continue paying for individuals who treat me like trash. I start with the utilities. Call the energy and water companies and inform them that I am removing my name from the accounts. They claim they need the other account holders to sign off. I simply answer, then shut it down when the next bill arrives. Same with the Wi-Fi and streaming accounts, which were primarily in my name anyway because my father believes anything online is a scam and has never learned how to create a password that isn't sunshine123. Next up is the family group chat. I do not go off. I merely posted a short message. Don't send money to mom and dad for Eli. He's not living there. A handful of cousins start asking about what happened, but I ignore them for the time being. I want the questions to begin. I want the bewilderment to spread to the rest of the family. Karen tries to kick me out of the chat but can't figure out how, so she abandons it. So I flew back to the States. I barely slept, and the first thing I do is go to my old house, knowing no one is there. Brandon posts his location on Snapchat like a moron, so I know he's at the gym while my folks are playing bingo. I walk up, and yes, it is strange. My key still works, which is simply laziness on their side. But the place feels false now. Everything with the words Caleb or Eli is gone. Not inside the garage, not in storage, just left. I search the trash cans and discover a few of Eli's old drawings. Some damaged toys, as if they flung everything out. I snap pictures, not for proof, but to remind myself that this isn't a nightmare I made up at some point. I hear a car approaching. Brandon is back earlier than expected. He walks out, sees me and waits there with his arms crossed, as if waiting for me to start something. I ask where Eli's belongings are. He shrugs. He says he doesn't know. Ask Mom. I wonder if he is proud of himself. He shrugs his eyes and continues. You should have just paid the debt. None of this would have happened. I move past him and he attempts to shoulder check me, so I shove him away. He appears surprised but does not push it. I instructed him to relocate his car. He smashes the door and plays loud music for no apparent reason. I leave. Not because I'm terrified, but because I have larger plans. First, I contacted my aunt. She's the only family member who has ever seemed to care about what happened to me. I tell her the basics, not the whole police station thing, because I don't trust her not to panic out, but enough so she understands. She is surprised but yet responds quietly. Well, your mother has been acting strangely for months. Perhaps it is menopause. I have no idea what to say to that, so I just say, I'm not covering for them anymore. She says she'll see what she can do, which is aunt jargon for calling everyone she knows and gossiping. Which is alright with me. So, the next step is to shift the money. I look through my bank statements and start flagging every time I send money to my parents for things like groceries and school supplies. I text my family's former accountant. He is a second cousin. We are not close, but he has always remained neutral. I tell him to stop sending anything to my parents with my name on it, to freeze any joint assets, and to send me a report of the previous year. He says okay, but also wonders whether everything is fine, because my mother said I was having a breakdown. I'll simply respond, no. I'm just done paying for people who don't respect me. He doesn't argue, simply saying he'll do it over the next few days. The fallout begins. My parents phone my aunt, uncle, and even my ex, don't ask, hoping to get someone to calm me down. Brandon tries to direct message me, accusing me of being theatrical and damaging the family's reputation. I simply leave him to read. My uncle texts me something like, come to dinner. Let's talk this out. But I know they'll simply attempt to guilt trip me again. I skipped it. I began showing up at places I know Brandon frequents, the gym, the cheap pizza place, even his favorite bar. I don't say anything. I simply sit there, scrolling through my phone, letting him sweat. One time, he informs the bartender that I am stalking him. The bartender chuckles and says, dude, he's just eating fries. I notice him becoming increasingly jittery, as if he is waiting for me to go off. I want him to feel nervous. I want him to know that I'm not simply a voice on the phone. Meanwhile, I begin withdrawing from every group activity that my parents have ever gotten me into, including family BBQs and group gifts. Next time my mom offers to start a group FaceTime, I simply decline and SMS the entire family. I'm not talking to people who throw away their grandkids. No one responds, so people start to notice. It was a text from my cousin. Hey man, your dad's been calling me non-stop asking for help with the mortgage. Is something going on? I tell him, if you want to help, go ahead, but I'm out. He adds, nah, I got my own bills. And I simply responded, welcome to the club. Another friend told me that when my father sought to borrow money from his old poker mate, he was laughed out of the pub. My mother attempts to share some uplifting words on Facebook regarding children who abandon their families. My aunt claps back in the comments. I almost take a screenshot, but instead opt to let them devour each other alive. Brandon finally snapped one night. Shows arrive at Jenna's. He is familiar with the address and the issues that plague tiny towns. Starts hammering on the door, demanding at me to face him. Jenna's husband answers and urges him to leave. Brandon attempts to shove past him, gets shoved back and nearly falls over the porch. Jenna texts me something like, your brother's losing it. Maybe handle your business. I phone Brandon and tell him that if he ever shows up there again, I'll post photos of his side hustle on Instagram. He hangs up. What is the funniest part? My parents still do not call me personally. They simply send out group messages like, how could you do this to your own blood? And family means everything, and what would your grandmother think? I ignore every single one. I start to block numbers. I received a letter in the mail with my mother's handwriting. Do not even open it. Simply throw it in the garbage. And through it all, I'm not even mad, just concentrated. I want them to feel the full consequences of their actions. Not just for a week or a month, but long enough that people recall it whenever they check their bank account or go to the store and are unable to pay for things. So, here's the setup. I have more pieces to move. And I am just getting started. If anyone is still following this, I will provide an update once the actual pressure begins. Trust me, they are unprepared for what is to come. Update 2. So I assumed I'd gotten past the what the actual hell phase by now. But, honestly, every day brings a different taste of petty or desperate behavior from my parents' house. Have you ever noticed how some people don't even try to cover their mess once the cracks start showing? I drove by the old place last week, and the grass was already up to my knees. Paint is flaking. The mailbox was duct taped. My father is out front on the phone, pacing as if he is arguing with the entire world at once. I just continued driving. Not my circus anymore. Anyway, after I started removing my name from things and shutting off the money, it was as if the entire family network went into panic mode. I'm getting texts from my mom, uncle, and even a weird relative I haven't spoken with since high school. Some of them are showing concern. To be honest, most people are simply trying to find out where the cash flow went. My mom sent me one that simply says, "You're destroying the family. Like, girl, you basically abandoned my child on a sidewalk." But certainly, I'm the problem. Brandon tries to get in my face again at the supermarket. I'm in line for eggs, and a guy walks up acting rough. Says I'm making things worse and embarrassing them. I merely shrugged. Tell him to buy his own food once. He pushes my cart. I push him back. He looks at me as if he expects me to swing, but I give him that look and he walks away. The guy behind me in line just shakes his head and murmurs, "Families, man." What is the funniest part? My father actually phoned my ex approximately 3 times to warn her about my actions. She conveys to me by text, "Your dad's losing it. I don't care what you did, I'm not getting involved." I let her know, "Don't worry. I'll never put you in that spot. Just block his number if you want." She says, "Already did." So, it's no longer only about money. It's all about control. And they realize they're losing it. The family group chat is completely silent, with the exception of my aunt uploading cat gifs. My mother is sending all caps texts such as, "We are still your parents. You owe us respect." I just muted the chat. I'm not even upset at this point. Just petty. I begin selling. Anything with my name on it. Even if it results in a loss. The old car's title is no longer valid. The joint account for family emergencies has been deleted. Dad's extra phone line has been canceled. When I get a call from an unknown number, I simply block it. Now the bills are piling up on them. I hear the electricity was turned off for a day, while they found out how to pay for it. The mortgage firm called my father at work. My mother is crying to my aunt, saying she never expected her own son to betray her. My aunt is over it. Just tells her to work it out for herself. I believe that was the first time I'd ever heard my mother say no. Brandon begins calling around attempting to borrow money. Facebook posts about certain people's true colors and false families. Nobody bites. I see him in the gym, wearing headphones and pretending I'm not there, but he keeps glancing over. I just sit on the seat and scroll through my phone, waiting for him to look up. He finally does, and I simply smile, wave, and return to my reps. He departs early at some point. I got a letter from my mother. Not an email, but a letter, which is unusual for her. It's 3 pages of guilt tripping about how difficult it was to raise me, how much they suffered, how I'm allowing Brandon to sink, and how my father, aged before his time, says if I don't help they'll have to make difficult decisions. I have not even finished reading it. I just put it in the junk drawer alongside expired coupons and takeout menus. Meanwhile, Eli is thriving with Jenna's family. I see him every day. We draw, play Mario Kart, and eat a lot of cookies. He occasionally asks about Grandma and Grandpa, but not in a sad way. Just as he notices they aren't present. I say they're busy. He shrugged and asked for another juice box. To be honest, I wish I had his level of coolness. Jenna informs me that Brandon came around again. She tried to start anything with her spouse in the driveway. This time, her spouse slammed the door on his face. Literally. Brandon yells through the door saying, "I'm ruining everything," and promising to make things right. Jenna laughs, tells him to grow up, and phones me. I simply respond, "Thanks for the heads up." So suddenly my folks are being rejected in their own neighborhood. People talk. It is a little town. Everyone knows that something happened. My mother used to throw these garden dinners every month. Now no one turns up. My father is acting as if nothing is wrong, yet I see him at the gas station attempting to negotiate with the cashier over lottery tickets. Brandon is sofa surfing. I heard from a friend that he tried to crash at their apartment and was told to find a job first. LOL. I stopped receiving the daily guilt texts. Now it's only the occasional, "When are you coming home?" or "We miss you." No mention of Eli. No apologies. There's no explanation. They still believe I'll crack first. This is never going to happen. My cousin Miquel is the only one who is truly honest with me. She arrives at my apartment one night with pizza, just sits down and asks, "So, you really cut them off?" I responded, "Yeah, for good." She nods. I said, "Took you long enough." Then she tells me that my mother has been contacting her non-stop, pleading for help with bills and wailing about how I turned the entire family against her. Miquel just adds, "Maybe don't throw your grandkid out like garbage next time." So I push it further. I discovered that my parents have been receiving modest side gifts from their extended family for years, birthdays, holidays, and even just because. I start calling everyone and telling them what occurred, not even in a dramatic way, just facts. The majority of them are shocked. Some people are initially skeptical of my claims. However, a few others have seen my mother acting strangely recently. The gifts then stop coming. One uncle really calls and yells at my father for embarrassing the family. I wish I had seen that. Brandon tries to guilt trip me one more time. Shows up at my house with a sob story about how he's trying to rectify things but needs some assistance. I tell him to leave. He gets enraged and tries to slap the pizza box out of my hand. I shove him back and order him to go lost. He stands there for a second, as if waiting for me to calm down. I simply stare at him. He finally goes, slamming the door so fiercely that the frame vibrates. Now it's just me, Eli, and the silence. I'm not lonely. I'm simply done. Every move I make, every dollar I pull, it's as if they know I'm not playing anymore. My mother last texted me, "You're destroying the family." I just chuckled. Next, I have one last play. Something they won't see coming. But I'm almost looking forward to it. I want them to experience that every time they sit down to eat and realize there are only 3 of them. Nobody called. There is no one visiting. Nothing but the reflection of their own decisions. I'll publish again after it's finished. If you are following this, you will want to know how it ends. Final update. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who has persevered with this. NGL, I wasn't even going to update again, but people kept DMing me saying, "Bro, did you nuke them or what?" So, yes. Here's what happened when I really went for it. Strangely, my mother begins throwing signals in the most boomer-like manner conceivable immediately away. For example, she comments on a Facebook post I made around 4 years ago, just one line. "Family always comes first." Then she tags me with 3 emoticons. Subtle, right? Then my father texted me for the first time in weeks. No, hi. No. How are you? Just a paragraph about how the family's name is jeopardized and you have to fix what you broke. I don't even respond. I just took a screenshot and sent it to Michelle with the caption, "LOL." So this is where the actual pressure exists. I pulled the final thread. Remember, I was still working on some old paperwork for the house, a couple of savings accounts, and car insurance. I had already removed my name from everything I could solo. But there was one final thing. My grandmother put up an old savings account specifically for emergencies. My parents always treated me as if it were their money, but it was also in my name. I went to the bank, requested a full withdrawal, split my portion, and left the remainder alone. I didn't even warn them. Didn't say anything. I know my mother checks that account once a week to ensure she has a backup plan in case Brandon gets into another issue. I called the mortgage company and said, "I'm out. I'm not responsible for any future payments." Not signing squat. The woman on the phone was quite cool. They said they will update the papers. I received a call from my father around 2 days later, yelling over the phone about how I was ruining their life. How could I accomplish this? I hung up. He calls back. I hung up again. He sends about 5 voicemails. None of them apologized. They were simply upset that he was losing control. Meanwhile, Brandon lives in his car. I heard it from a buddy who works at 7-Eleven. He's been asking around for a couch to crash on, but everyone is aware of what occurred. He tried to guilt my uncle into letting him stay, but was instructed to acquire a job first. He attempted to get to Eli's school, but the principal called and informed me that a relative was asking questions and appeared strange. I warned her not to let him approach Eli again. She agreed. Brandon called me afterwards. I tried to imply I was turning everyone against him. I had just said, "Maybe next time," Don't let mom and dad throw my kid away like a piece of trash. In the meantime, my folks begin to exhibit unusual behavior during the holidays. For example, when my mother tries to organize Thanksgiving, just 2 cousins show up, one of whom leaves early. My dad acts as if nothing is wrong. He sits at the head of the table, looking through his phone and ignoring everyone. Michelle tells me that my mother called her afterwards, crying. She said she doesn't understand how we all became so harsh. Michelle informed her, "You did this to yourself." She hung up. They were severely affected by the social consequences. Neighbors stopped waving. Old pals stopped by. Heard my mother argue with a lady across the street about fake people. My father slammed the door when a church buddy arrived to drop off food. Brandon got into a shouting match with someone at the petrol station, apparently about $40. He pushed the person and was pushed back. Nearly fell into the windshield wiper bucket. Even the extended family is divided. Some aunts support me. Some people believe I should be the larger guy and fix things. I simply say, not my problem. I block everyone who attempts to guilt me. I don't care whether it's blood or not. I see folks at the supermarket who don't know what to say to me. I just nod and continue moving. Eli is good, by the way. He starts first grade next week, has already lost 2 teeth, and is enamored with his new bike. He occasionally asks about grandma, but not in a sad way. Just as he noticed, she vanished. I do not lie. I simply say, sometimes people make bad choices. He nods. Says, okay. Returns to his cartoon. I saw Brandon one last time at the pharmacy. He is scrounging for change at the counter. It appears rough. He notices me, walks up, and attempts to get closer. Says, I need to fix this. I remind him. You made your bed. He attempts to shove me. I shove him back harder. The clerk yells at us to get outside. Brandon simply shakes his head and leaves, with nothing. My parents sent me one final group text. Something about forgiveness, family, and how we'll regret it once they're gone. I do not reply. I exit the chat for good this time. I know they are spreading lies about me to anyone who will listen. But really, I do not care. I see now that they never wanted a son. Simply a backup plan. They're upset because I finally acted like a genuine person and not their safety blanket. So that's it. No huge Hollywood ending. There's no healing arc. This is just real life. I have a son. I found my tranquility. And they got exactly what they deserved. Every time they check their bank account or sit in their empty home, they'll understand why. And if they ever try anything again, I'll simply remind them of the one rule they gave me. Family means nothing unless you act like it.